Natasha Jonas retaining, controversially, I think it's fair to say, her IBF welterweight title, the biggest win of her career by far, and some might say she might deserve it after that draw against Terry Harper, the good fight against Katie Taylor, but I thought Mikaela Mayer won. This is what Natasha Jonas had to say after the fight.
Tasha, congratulations, and still, just sum up the emotions that you're feeling right now.
Just relieved, you know, happy, and all the bits in between. It's been a hard, long camp. And yeah, I had to dig in deep in part of that. She was tough. I knew she was going to be tough. And as I said from the beginning, fights like that bring out the best of me, because I have to step up, raise my game, and every time I'm asked to, I do. Yeah, no, I mean, two to here, I thought was wild. I think I was a couple up going into the end, and then it was getting close in the middle, but then I thought I run away with it in the end. So I thought the last couple of rounds got me.
A lot of people after the fight, and I think they did after they sat down on the aprons and they were speaking about a rematch. The amount of boxers that have done that, by the way, over the years. we're going to get it on again, and then you never see them do. In terms of options for Tasha, look, she wants to somehow get in the mix with Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron. Sandy Ryan's out there as well, potentially for a big fight, same division. Where does she go? I don't think she's going to go the Mikaela Mayer route again. Why would you? Where does she go?
I think, you're talking, I think for a unification, so you Sandy Ryan, Jessica McCaskill are the obvious choice. And fights, I think, that are relatively, even though they're on different platforms, I still think they'd be easy to make. Or she goes back up to super welter and gets some sort of catchweight fight against Clarissa Shields. I think that's the cash out fight, isn't it? Because whatever happens there, you earn enough money on top of what you've earned already to say goodbye. And also, it's who knows how good Shields is. Shields is fantastic on a day, but again, you can't stay premium forever. So you catch it on an off night, make her go back down in weight again, and that might just do a little bit for you. But the Natasha Jonas we saw Saturday struggles with all those girls except for Jessica McCaskill. I think she beats Jessica anyway, but because Sandy Ryan punches long, that'll be a problem for her. Clarissa Shields is Clarissa Shields, so you've got to be more than just sitting back waiting for someone to walk onto your shots. And I think Natasha's better than what she was on Saturday night. I do.
Yeah, I think she was off as well. I mean,
but you got to give Mayer the pressure.
I'm about to say that. I mean, opposite her is an Olympian, again, a former world champion herself, who's very, very good. Like, I think Mikaela Mayer has to be a top 10 pound for pound female fighter. She's that good. So maybe it's a case of Mayer made her look really bad in points. And
what Mayer does, she punches long all the time. So when she comes forward, she's an aggressive fighter, wants to walk you down, but she uses that reach. She used it so well as a super featherweight, but she still uses it now against another form of super featherweight, of course. So we'll see when she boxes a natural welterweight, but she comes in behind the punches and makes a big difference. She doesn't step too close first and then try and throw. She throws long, then walks behind it, and that makes it hard for you to counter. See Natasha trying to counter with that right hook, not always hitting the target. And Mayer takes a good shot. She never looked visibly hurt once. Not once. I can't say the same about Natasha Jonas. She didn't look in terrible trouble, but a few times she looked a little bit like a little bit panicked. And I just think I think again struggling with the length. But she was a world class amateur. She's been a world champion around the world level and a world champion for a long time now. She should be able to adapt. And getting yourself to that next level is all about adaptability. And she's shown it in the past. But she didn't show it Saturday night. So whether that was Mayer doing a good work or whether Natasha maybe is. We talk about age again. I'm not quite sure that was a massive factor, but sometimes it's not a real visible thing. We don't really see how much you're getting old. The oldness is when you don't quite see. Your reactions are slower. You lose that anticipation factor. So you see it, but you see it too late. And that's when you know you're getting old.
Yeah. Is there no appetite? Well, I mean, look, you mentioned Clarissa Shields being the fight, right? And I agree. Like, Clarissa will sell that fight so well. I mean, you put Clarissa on the press conference, all of a sudden the money just goes up because Clarissa's saying that you just let her do what she needs to do. But there seemed to be an appetite for a long time for the Katie Taylor rematch, potentially. Again, Katie's got big work coming up with Chantel Cameron, fingers crossed, in a third fight. But the big one, or I say the big one, the one where we thought would happen again was Terry Harper. That seems to have completely vanished.
The weirdest thing, because it was a really close competitive fight. Yeah. They both moved up in weight to the same weight. Both picked up a world title. It seemed a natural fight, but there's some weird personality clash where they don't want it. Like Harper will say that it's Joe Gallagher and Natasha doesn't want to give it any money.
Yeah,
wanted to earn.
Yeah, doesn't want to give her a payday. Is what
and they have a payday. That's what I should have said. And they have a different view. It's a weird thing, but that seems a natural fight to make. Of course it does. And because it has a background and a history, it makes it a more sellable fight.
Yeah, I think me and you both agree on this one. But I'll get your point for talkSPORT listeners that have not heard it before, and that's on the 3-minute rounds. For me, for females, it's a complete no-no, because I think the 2-minute rounds are fantastic. It's action-packed, and you get really good 2-minute rounds. Men 3-minute rounds are boring. Like, imagine a male 2-minute round; it'd be incredible.
You looked at me really intensely when you said male 3-minute rounds are boring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they are. Some of them are.
I know. I was boring, but
no,
still.
No, not you, Bez. You're always excited. But with these fights, sometimes, especially with the men, they wait until the last minute because there you go. There's the burst. Yeah. With these female 2-minute rounds, you get the burst from the very first second all the way until the end of the round. And I just feel like the 3 minutes I know Michaela Mayer's calling for it, and I get it. Right? If you feel like you've got the engine to go 3-minute rounds, then fantastic. But I think 2-minute rounds are fantastic. Maybe with championship fights you go 2 12s. Maybe you do that as opposed to separate the 2 10s. But I don't want to see 3-minute rounds.
I firstly think though men didn't have a choice on what they do for a start. But I do think in this scenario, women should have a say in what it is. First of all, we're all saying we think it should be this, should be that.
Dictate,
They should say if the majority think it should be 3-minute rounds, then the ones who don't, like Katie Taylor's and Natasha Jonas's, you should have to suck it up and do it.
Why do you think they're saying no? There seems to be the loud Amanda Serrano, Michaela Mayer, Alicia Baumgardner has said yes, and then there's the others that are saying no. What's the reason for the no's for those?
Well, I think it suits certainly the Katie Taylor perfect. She has that internal clock. 2 minutes are great for her. High defense, in and out with your feet, and then throwing in combinations in flurries. That's how you win a 2-minute fight. That's how you win 2-minute rounds. Clearly, you don't worry about the power. Just that, make the fight work. Make a mistake. Once they make a mistake, you go bam, 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 and then you're off moving away. So 3-minute rounds gives a real technical boxer a chance to work into the fight, and gives a busy fighter the chance to make you work hard and break you down. So we'll see more stoppages. My worry is because there's still a gulf in quality from one level to the other. There's a big step up from one level to, even in world level, from world level to the top world. There's a massive step up that we will see bigger mismatches if there was 3-minute rounds. My opinion. I mean, the good fights would be great. The Taylors and Camerons would be great fights of 3-minute rounds. They'd be different outcomes, I think, for a start, but they'd be wall of attritions that you really see a toughness in it, which maybe some people wouldn't like. I don't know. That's everyone's preference, but I think when you're boxing someone below your level, people will get hurt.
And that's a conversation no one really wants to have, will they? Like, as much as people are crying out to see knockouts for some reason, I don't know why, in female boxing, I do wonder what people's take on seeing females getting knocked out will be if it were to happen regularly. I
was with Natasha Jonas doing a podcast maybe last year, the year before last, either way, and she said, I don't think the public are ready to see women get knocked out cold on a regular basis. And that was her saying. That's not my words. That's me paraphrasing what she said, of course. But it was interesting that was her point of view, not mine. Now, I just want to see good fights. I've got to a point now where women's boxing is not quite there where you can properly criticise it, because you have to be aware that it's not a new sport, but it's still evolving. It took men's boxing hundreds of years to get good, and it's still rubbish in areas. but I mean, we're at a stage now where they're having good fights, competitive fights, really good fights to have. And so, I don't care if you're a man or if it's a good fight. It's a good fight. Ultimately, I've said Taylor and Serrano was one of the best fights I've been at
ever.
Atmosphere,
insane.
It ticked every box. It was a great fight. Drama at the end where her knee was 3 inches from the floor, and she touches it, she loses the fight, and she finds that role to push herself up. And all it didn't have was a knockdown. That's all it didn't have. But everything else it ticked every box. The crowd, it was a 50-50 crowd with the Puerto Ricans and the Irish. The Irish in the end beat everyone on noise.
They do everyone.
The biggest travelling crowd in the universe. But it was brilliant. So it didn't matter who was in the ring or what was in it. It was just great, and it was a great fight to watch. I'll have that day of the week. That crosses over gender conversations every time, and that's once the sport gets to that and it's getting close to that, then the real conversation can start about 3-minute rounds. I think. And right now, I think to help the sport still develop, to make it more exciting, to keep the eyes on the sport and people want to watch it and all that sort of stuff. I think you need to keep it at an entertainment level, and I think that keeps the 2-minute rounds, as you've been rightly said in less words than I did. That Yeah, that 2 minute rounds keeps that excitement level, and people love that because you have to like, as soon as that bell goes, you got to come out throwing punches.
You switched on, right?
No time to work it to warm up to a fight.
You can't lose the first 30 seconds and win the round. You've pretty much lost the round, and that's why I think
it's a nightmare to score though.
Let it continue to be a nightmare. I prefer the 2s to the 3s. I remember watching Amanda Serrano have that 3-minute fight a few weeks back, and I was like, not for me. Give me the 2 minute rounds.